morning, dear children. Last class we were doing uses of some metalloids. Today we will be doing corrosion of iron. So corrosion means eroding away, means washing away, means removal. When something gets oxidized, especially this word corrosion we use for iron only. So when iron gets oxidized, when iron comes in contact with oxygen from air and water, then the quality, then there will be chemical reaction. Iron undergoes oxidation reaction. So this process of eroding away iron by air and water is called corrosion. So iron reacts with oxygen and moisture present in the atmosphere to form a reddish brown flaky substance called rust. You are very much familiar with rust. A lot of iron is wasted every year because of the formation of rust. So rusting of iron is an undesirable change. We do not want iron to convert into rust because huge amount of iron is destroyed in the form of rust, which cannot be again used because it is a chemical reaction. It is undesirable change, but the change is not physical, it is chemical change. So from rust we cannot get back iron. From rust we cannot get back iron. Rusting of iron is an undesirable change. That's why, because the layer of rust formed falls off, exposing the metal to further rusting. Again, whatever means, first of all what happens is outermost layer of iron comes in contact with air and water and forms rust. Then later on what happens is, when this rust is formed, it is a flaky powdery substance. So this flaky powdery substance falls down, and again inner surface of iron again comes in contact with air and water, and again it will rust. Then again it will falls in the form of powder, then again inner process. So in this way whole of the iron gets corroded, whole of the iron gets eroded. So this way this rust is killing off, this rust is totally destroying iron, which is not desirable. So as a result, iron objects become weak with the passage of time. Thus corrosion or rusting is defined as the process of slow eating away of iron due to the attack of oxygen and moisture on its surface. So I think you have understood now corrosion. It is not compulsory, it is not necessary that you have to learn the definition that is given in your book, or you have to write the definition that is in your book. You can make your own definition. Corrosion is the process in which iron gets rusted. It is the process in which iron gets rusted. So due to the attack of oxygen and moisture on its surface. Okay, so this is corrosion of iron. So corrosion of iron is simply the formation of rust. That means iron undergoes a chemical change to form rust. And what is a rust? Rust is a reddish brown flaky substance which is formed as a result of attack of oxygen and moisture on iron surface. Then what are the conditions necessary for rusting? Yes, if you keep iron in water only, does it rust? Or if you keep iron in moisture only, does it rust? No. For rusting, two important things, two conditions necessary for rusting are air and moisture. Two conditions necessary for rusting are air and moisture. So either means both is required. Only air In presence of air only, it does not rust. In presence of moisture only, it does not rust. So for rusting of iron, air and moisture both is required. That means in order to protect, in order to prevent your iron particles, iron articles from rust, what you can do is you do not allow it to expose in air and moisture. So when rusting occurs, the iron reacts with water and oxygen in its environment. This reaction forms iron oxide, also called rust. This reaction forms iron oxide, also called rust. So what is rust? Again, in short, you can say rust is iron oxide. Rust is iron oxide. That also, if you write, it will be okay. Or if you write rust is a reddish brown flaky substance, then also it is right. So the rusting is a chemical reaction in which iron is changed into a new substance, that is rust. So then how will you define rusting? Rusting is a chemical reaction, or corrosion of iron is chemical reaction in which iron is changed into a new substance, that is rust. So the process of rusting may be represented by the following word equation. Iron plus oxygen plus water gives iron, hydrated iron, iron oxide. Iron plus oxygen plus water gives hydrated iron. It gives not iron but hydrated iron, iron oxide. That is rust. So iron plus oxygen plus, rather in place of writing iron, what you can do here is, this is totally wrong. You should not say iron, because iron plus oxygen plus water combines to form rust. Either you can write rust or you can consider it as hydrated iron. Generally iron rust. However, besides iron, copper also rusts, giving a green color deposit on the corroded surface. Chemical nature of the rust. Chemical nature of the rust. Rust is reddish brown flaky substance. Again, I am repeating, rust is a reddish brown flaky substance. It is soft and porous. So rust is soft. Iron is very hard and it is not that porous. It is non-porous. Small pores may be there but not porous. But rust is soft and porous. Chemically, it is the oxide of iron called hydrated ferric oxide. Chemically, what it is? It is the oxide of iron called hydrated ferric oxide. It turns the red litmus paper to blue. That means if you make solution, if you put this flaky substance rust in water, okay, and make solution of it, and if you put red litmus paper in this solution, then this red litmus paper turns to blue. That means rust is basic in nature. Rust is basic in nature. So what is the chemical nature of the rust? Rust is basic in nature. Rust is basic in nature. Now this is all about corrosion of iron. So corrosion, what is corrosion of iron? Eating away of iron surface by oxygen and moisture is corrosion of iron. Then what are the conditions required for rusting? Water and oxygen, or water and air also you can say. Then what is the chemical reaction that really takes place when rusting occurs? Iron plus oxygen plus water gives rust or hydrated ferric oxide. What is chemical name for rust? Hydrated ferric oxide. What is chemical name for rust? Hydrated ferric oxide. And what is the chemical nature of rust? It is basic in nature. Now what are the different ways by which we can prevent rusting of iron? So since it is undesirable change, so we do not allow it to take place. In order to stop iron converting into rust. What are the different ways we can adopt? So rusting can be prevented if it is kept out of the reach of moist air. That means if we can keep iron, okay, if we can keep iron away from moist air, then rusting do not take place. Then what are the different ways by which we can keep iron away from moist air? Number one is paint. If you paint iron articles, what happen is, until and unless iron articles, iron substances comes in direct contact with air and water, it do not get rust. So if you paint, then what happen is this paint, okay, does not allow air and water to come in direct contact with iron. Okay, that means you can see here figure 6.21, painting to avoid corrosion. So corroded iron article is painted here, and then what happen is, just above the surface of this iron, paint is coming, paint is forming a coat, and this coating does not allow air and water to come in direct contact with iron. As a result, iron do not get corroded. As a result, iron do not convert into rust. So one of the way of preventing rusting is paint. Then number one is grease or oil. So what are the things we are doing here is simply we are disturbing the direct contact between iron, air and water. So if you keep anything that can block air and water to come in contact with iron, then rusting can be prevented. So grease or oil also can serve like this. A coat of grease or oil also protects metals from rusting by shutting out air and moisture. You might have seen that brand new tools, scissors and knives are smeared with grease to preserve their shining. So galvanizing, one of the best way that is generally used in preventing water pipe from rusting is coating the pipe is made up of iron only, so coating the pipe with zinc, which is called galvanization. So what is galvanization? Galvanization is the process of coating iron with zinc. Process of coating iron with zinc is called galvanization. This is done by first cleaning the object means here iron, to be galvanized thoroughly, and then dipping it into molten zinc. So first of all, iron article which is to be galvanized is cleaned thoroughly, and then this iron article is dipped into molten zinc, and then it is allowed to cool. Then what happens is a coating of zinc can be seen on the iron surface, and this zinc does not allow air and water to come in direct contact with iron. As a result, iron can be prevented from rust. So iron sheets used in roofing and for making buckets and drums are thus galvanized to prevent their rusting. Galvanized iron pipes, GI pipes. So what do you mean by GI pipes? We are very much familiar with this word GI pipes. So GI pipes means galvanized iron pipes are used to carry water to houses. Then another way of prevention of rusting or preventing rust is electroplating. So this is another process of coating iron and steel products by using some of the metals like chromium, especially chromium tin, which do not get rust, which do not generally react with oxygen. So these metals these metals are electroplated over iron and steel. So this electroplating is done by using electricity. The process of using electricity for coating one metal over other is called electroplating. Nowadays we can see city golds. These city golds are also electroplated. That means copper ornaments can be given golden coat by using this process called electroplating. So a thin layer of one metal is coated over another metal with the help of electricity is called electroplating. Then alloying can also be done. Some metals when alloyed with other metals become more resistant to rusting. An alloy is a homogeneous mixture. So what is an alloy? An alloy is a homogeneous mixture of a metal with other metals or non-metals. For example, brass, bronze, steel, all these are alloys. So it is a homogeneous mixture. It is uniform mixture, means here components, whatever is there in the mixture is uniformly mixed. A metal is uniformly mixed with other metals or non-metals to form alloy, and when alloys are formed, quality can be improved. So those metals which do not get corroded can be mixed with iron to form alloy here. For example, stainless steel is an alloy of iron which does not rust easily. So in this way rusting can be prevented. So what are the different processes of preventing rusting? Number 1 is paint, number 2 grease or oil, number 3 galvanizing, number 4 electroplating, number 5 alloying. So the very easiest way that we can adopt in our home for prevention of rusting is painting or grease or oil. And whenever we bring something that is made up of iron and which cannot be kept inside our house, then that has to be galvanized article, or that has to be electroplated article, or that has to be stainless steel articles which do not get rust. Then you can see here to demonstrate what is the aim of this thing, to demonstrate that air and moisture are necessary for rusting. So what are the materials required for this? Materials required are 3 test tubes, 3 iron nails, calcium chloride, water, test tube and stoppers. What is the procedure? Take 3 test tubes with 1 iron nail in each and mark them as A, B, C. Place a small amount of calcium chloride in the test tube A to dry the air. So you must be thinking, what is the use of calcium chloride in test tube A? So actually what we are trying to do in test tube A is we want to keep dry air. That means air free from moisture. So calcium chloride is the chemical substance that absorbs moisture. All the moisture can be absorbed by calcium chloride, making air dry. So nail free. So that is test tube A. Then in test tube B, iron nail is kept in boiled water. Iron nail is kept in boiled water. Why not cold water? Because cold water, a small amount of air is dissolved, and in boiled water whatever air is dissolved, that is removed. So boiled water do not contain dissolved air. Boiling water do not contain dissolved air. Then in C you can see water from tap water. Iron nail is immersed in tap water. Then number 5, close the mouth of all the 3 test tubes with the stoppers. Leave the setup undisturbed for 3 to 4 days. Record your observation. So you can see the figure out here. Figure number A. Iron nail is there in dry air. Whatever moisture is there is absorbed by using calcium chloride. And in test tube B, iron nail is kept in boiled water, and in C, iron nail is kept in tap water. Now, after 3-4 days, we'll see that the nails in A and B test tubes are free from rust, while that in the test tube C has rusted. So, the nails in A and B test tubes are free from rust. Why? Because iron does not rust in dry air. And number 2, iron does not rust in boiled water too. Boiled water also, iron do not get rust. That means for rusting, both the conditions are required. They are air and water, both are required. That means moist air. We need to keep iron away from moist air in order to prevent from rusting. So inference, that is conclusion. Oxygen and moisture are 2 necessary requirements for rusting. Test tube A lacks moisture while test tube B lacks air. Thus nails in these test tubes are not rusted. In the test tube C, both oxygen and moisture are present that make the iron nail rusted. That means you must be thinking, no, in test tube C also there was tap water only, and I said you tap water or cold water that is coming from the source contains a small amount of air dissolved in it. As a result, it can rust iron. But boiled water, while boiling, whatever air is dissolved in it will be removed, will be released. So boiled water contains no air, and dry air do not contains moisture. So both the things are required, and both the conditions were there in test tube C only. So with this we have done with this chapter. So we hope you will be trying to do all the exercise, and I will also help you out doing the exercise. Stay safe, stay healthy, give time for your studies also. Thank you.